Yeah, it sucks. I just put the long top down, but today's one of those days, baby. We going with that Killian. Ooh. Let's spray on. Yeah, so we're about to go see and do our thing. We're about to go unpack real quick. And once we unpack, we'll unfold what the day should look like. So should be an interesting day. Follow along. Once again, day 6.
Just translates in that way to where it's like, oh man, I'm looking for a condo to shoot this kind of this scene. But
So now,
smart,
we
man.
don't do residential. Everything is brick and mortar businesses.
Yeah.
So that's what the niche is for that.
Very smart, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can always scan this. This right here give you a lot more details.
Yeah.
And then the website itself is fingertogo.com.
Love it, man. No, I'm gonna smart, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Smart.
We finally finished everything, and now we out on the market, about to get more clients on there. And once we, yep.
So that's a really good idea. I like that. I'll have to get your information.
Yeah, I'll definitely give you my information. So I'll give you the number, and then we'll definitely be in contact. But we also got a way for you to communicate with the. So there's a lot of things I was thinking of all of that. You gotta talk. I like the questions that you asked. Yeah.
For 13 years.
Right.
I'm like, okay, let's see.
Right.
Get what I desire is my empire.
Brothers and sisters,
I am the umpire.
please, welcome to the stage,
In this very moment I'm king. In this very moment
CEO-elect
This very moment I bring. Put it on everything. That I will retire with the ring.
Lorraine Cochran Johnson.
But then she came back in a runoff, and she did even better. Now that deserves an applause. That tells you that everybody in this room, whether you live in DeKalb County or not, you're going to be impacted by this great leadership. So Lorraine, I know on the campaign trail you talked about your vision. So I want you to share with them that I already know. Tell them about your vision for small black businesses here in DeKalb County, and then we're going to talk about what your strategy is, and then we're going to ask you a question. What do you need from us, right, to be a partnership and to get things done? So Lorraine, tell us that vision.
Let me say first and foremost that, as it relates to DeKalb County, we will be entering what I call the period under my leadership called the Renaissance. Several portions of DeKalb, depending on where you're located, from the north to the south, from Dunwoody to Decatur, there is a huge degree of inequity. In South and unincorporated DeKalb, you do not see the development that we should have. I want to announce to Melvin that nothing has changed. DeKalb County remains the largest pocket of African American wealth in the United States, second only to Prince George's County, Maryland, when you're in the 3003 zip code. But let me say that when you're in that zip code, we look nothing like who we are. We do not have access to restaurants, retail, and that's what has to change. And for those of you who are in this room who are small business owners, I feel that in many instances, particularly the electeds have done a poor job of enlisting you, educating you, and bringing you to the table of economic opportunity. I know that Chef Couture is here today. I brought her to the table of economic opportunity in DeKalb. DeKalb operates with a $4.8 billion budget, and 70% of that budget is directly for goods and services. If you didn't know, I came to tell you that government is the largest procurer of services in the world. So if you're not doing business with government, you're not doing business. Let's be clear. We need everything. We need everything from caterers to health and beauty products, because of course, as the CEO, we're also responsible for the jail. So we are charged with providing the health care of people. Also, when it comes to capital improvements, roads, repairs, facilities, painting. In DeKalb County, we have one contract for mobile auto detailing services, and most of our contracts are 3-year renewable contracts, $100,000 a year. That's $300,000. And by and large, I do not see in particular Black and brown people that are at the table who are seeking these opportunities. So it's my job to educate you so that we can change that trajectory.
Thank you. But some of you,
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage ATL's very own super producer, my main man, Brother Rick Mathis.
Yeah, first off, Atlanta, give yourself a round of applause for being Chamber of the Year. That's what I'm talking about. And then give this gentleman a round of applause for his birthday. He just celebrated his birthday. Yeah, so it's really, really easy. Like, AI is really making our life real simple. You know, there's opportunities and there's threats that come with this new evolution of AI. I tend to focus more on the opportunities, but really be aware of the threats. So there's a platform called Suno, and you write this down, S-U-N-O. You can go online, pull it up, Suno, S-U-N-O, is the platform, and you basically prompt it and tell it what type of song you want to create, the lyrics that you want in the song, and it'll spit that song out for you in about 60 seconds.
I mean, some of us are like born into legacy, and you come from Black excellence, you come from greatness. So hey, that's a cool thing, no doubt. This next guest, yeah, we good. This next guest is an example of that, and he's doing big things. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage for the very first time with the ABC in person, Mr. Isaac Hayes III.
You know, because great organizations we all know, people know how to get on the spot. And you started talking about this concept of Fanbase and a little bit then. But before we started, I want to get into the business of music, because before you got into the Fanbase piece, your role was managing your father's estate as far as the music, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I started as a producer about 20 years. After my father passed, I started managing his estate in 2013. I still am the manager of the estate, but we have a lot of help now, but I spent a lot of time getting the rights to his music back, and name, image, and likeness and stuff like that. That's really important. It's a lot of stuff he lost during his career, so.
I think that's something that we don't spend enough time having a conversation around the families of our legends.
Yeah.
And their work, right? And knowing that some of the stories I've heard you tell about some of the people who sampled some of the music, just run down a few familiar names of people who sampled that.
Well, I always give respect to the most sampled artist of all time, which is James Brown. And that's our family, that's our fam. But I always say Isaac Hayes has probably some of the most iconic samples. Warning by Biggie, Cream by Wu-Tang, Me Against the World by Tupac, Explosive by Dr. Dre, Stranded on Death Row by Dr. Dre, G's Up, Hoes Down by Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, I Love You. It's tons of stuff. It's a lot of great music.
I think I saw on social Beyonce sample.
Beyonce, it's tons of people.
So from a business standpoint, getting your father's rights back in 2013, and obviously, we don't understand that side of the world. I think there's a brother here, Teddy Aston, I think he's in the room, who's a music part of our community as well. But so for some of us who may have family members who have aspirations to get in the entertainment industry, what would be your advice on the front end before they start giving away their intellectual property or signing some bad contracts going in?
Man, I mean, my whole journey in music is one of caution because of what happened to my dad. So I never kind of did what people call publishing deals, stuff like that. I kept, I wanted to always own because that was a big part of my dad losing the rights to music. For those that don't know, my dad kind of got robbed of his writer shares from this whole Stack situation, and the label filed for bankruptcy. And they filed for bankruptcy in '74 on my father about $14 million. So that would be like $90 million today. That's like somebody saying, we owe you $90 million, but we ain't got it. And that really crushed my dad, but he moved here to Atlanta. We bounced back, but in that time that all those artists sampled him, he never saw any of that money. So he probably missed out on about $60 million in his lifetime of revenue. I actually, as crazy as it sounds, I'm actually kind of fortunate. I'm glad that it happened because if he would have kept his money, we would have stayed in Los Angeles, California. I probably would have been some rich kid wrecking Ferraris, hanging out with all the other entertainers' kids, and we wound up here in Atlanta. And really, this is the greatest place in the world to be a black person. So I wouldn't change anything about it.
So you forged your own trail in music. Coming here to Atlanta, you started your career really when Atlanta was starting to really pop on a national, respected national basis. Tell us about some of the music that you produced and some of the stuff.
Well, my music journey was very brief because again, ownership was a big part. And in the music industry, you kind of get punished if you don't play the game. If you don't sign publishing deals, labels don't want to work with you because they don't get a piece of that revenue. So, I did a few records. One of the records that I did was this record on Little Scrappy called Money in the Bank. And then I got co-writing credit on Buy You a Drink with T-Pain, which went like 6 or 7 times platinum. Money in the Bank went platinum. But I shifted to licensing my music, which is one of the most important things that I did because I wasn't selling my music, I was giving people permission to use my music and still retain ownership. So I started placing my music on television shows, reality shows, TV shows, and films, and I would actually just have this passive income that I could go to the mailbox and just get, which actually was how I was able to build Fanbase.
Yeah, and I was intentionally asking you that question because a lot of us have kids or family members that say, man, I want to make beats.
Yeah.
I want to get to the industry.
Yeah.
And then you start talking about publishing, you start talking about doing commercial work or doing that type of work. That's not what they aspire to be, right? So as we're talking to college kids and people who want to get into that space, you obviously, as you say, you see the check every day for a Crest commercial, just throwing an example out there. Yeah. And a lot of R&B and hip-hop is now being used in a lot of commercial spaces now.
Absolutely, it's not glamour. So I say, you want to be famous, you be rich. I really like the fact that I can have, money come to the house. I'm able to pursue other avenues because that money comes in. I would suggest anybody that's producing to do that. Like take those first, 50 beats you did and put them on platforms where they can license them. Like my music is on Love and Hip Hop and Real Housewives and NBA on TNT and all these places, and you would never know it. But those checks come in by just the performance, and it turns out to be a lot of money.
So let's pivot to Fanbase. How many people here heard of Fanbase?
Oh wow, cool.
Second question.
Wait.
All right, put your hands down. Second question.
Yeah.
How many people got accounts on Fanbase?
Okay, now ask the third question.
I'm gonna let you tell me you got a question. Go ahead.
How many of you are investors in Fanbase?
There you go.
Okay, so we gotta change that. I see about 2. We need everybody in this room to be a Fanbase investor
Well,
in this conversation.
I'm 3.
All right, cool. We got 3.
All right, so now obviously we need to talk about the opportunity for Fanbase. Let's first talk about what Fanbase is.
So I came across this black kid that was dancing in a Spider-Man costume in a GameStop that went viral. And I realized that he didn't have the rights to Spider-Man, but he could really dance. And this idea popped in my head that we need an app where people can subscribe to people like we subscribe to Netflix. This is in 2018. And everything I'm about to say is true, so even though it's crazy as it sounds, I want to say this because it's going to speak to the magnificence and the brilliance of Black innovation as I talk about this. So I took $200,000, I advanced myself $200,000 of the royalties that I made, set out to build this app, and I built a social media platform that allowed people to have followers and subscribers on the same platform to monetize that, and also do it in a way that was very easy, which is in-app purchase technology. Meaning before 2019, there was never an app where you could pull out your phone and subscribe directly to a person using Apple Pay or Google Pay. You had to put in a credit card, CVV, and all that kind of stuff. And I pioneered that in 2019 to the point that Apple and Google changed their business model and allowed all the other bigger apps to build what I wanted to build before they let us build it. But they told us that they had to change a part of the way they view subscriptions, because subscription entertainment and purchases are going to take over the planet. I say that now in the future, like there's going to be millionaires and billionaires walking around in the next 10 to 15 years based off subscription purchases for apps. So Fanbase is a social media platform that will remind you of Instagram, it will remind you of TikTok, it will remind you of Clubhouse, it will remind you of all these platforms, but it's free to download, free to use. And we have 6 functionalities. We have photos and videos which are post, stories, live, long form content like YouTube, short form content like TikTok, and then audio rooms, which you have these audio conversations. This kind of conversation can be had virtually with an audience just like this, and us having this conversation on the stage, and everybody can be at home doing this exact same, type of conversation and listening.
So the same thing that people are doing in Clubhouse, right? The same thing people are doing when they go IG Live. The same thing that people are doing when they want to broadcast, live broadcast. Everything that people are doing every day on IG, YouTube, Facebook, and all, they can do on Fanbase.
Absolutely.
But in addition to that, if someone likes a comment, or you're in a room and someone likes the comment that you made in that room, people can give you what you call loves in that moment and earn some revenue.
Yeah, so you can tip. So tipping is also a big thing. So we have likes and loves. Like something's for free. If you love it, you tip the user half a penny. Those add up. People make a lot of money from love. I just wanted to create something for monetization. The desire to build Fanbase is the fact that a few things I'll explain. Number one, Black culture is the economic engine of social media. There's no, it is statistically impossible to market and promote anything cool without the assistance of Black people. You cannot do it. You need our dances, you need our songs, you need our skits, you need our clapbacks, you need something. And there is a multi-billion, trillion-dollar value to that we don't take advantage of because we do not own infrastructure. And so my desire to build Fanbase was to think about infrastructure. If you all can Google right now the inventions of Black people, I even saw today that a Black man had the airplane before the Wright brothers, but they broke his shit up. They knocked his shit down. We invented ice cream and golf tees and alarm systems and all these things, but where's the Black riders, right? If we invented ice cream, where's the Black riders? If we invented golf tees, where's Titleist, right? I talk about Grandmaster Flash all the time because he took 2 turntables and a mixer and invented DJing, but somebody should have stopped him and said, let's go figure out how to build turntables and mixers, because everybody that's going to do this cannot do without the infrastructure. So he innovated something, but he didn't own the infrastructure. The DJ industry is a $16 billion a year industry. Grandmaster Flash should be worth $16 billion, but he's not. To the point that if you look at any DJ equipment right now, whatever the DJ is using back there, I don't know if he's back there, he's on it, and whatever you're using right now, it is a piece of hardware that has 2 turntables and a mixer in one. That's the infrastructure. So whoever owns the infrastructure owns the industry. So I say, okay, who owns the music industry? the people that make the keyboards, the software, the microphones, who owns hip hop, if you own a streetwear company, or the spray paint cans to do graffiti, or all these things that we use. And so in social media, we don't own infrastructure. These companies are worth, Facebook has a market cap of $1.2 trillion. ByteDance, which is TikTok's parent company, is worth $350 billion. Instagram minus Instagram separated from Facebook is about a $300 billion app. And these companies are owned by small groups of wealthy venture capitalists and angel investors who are primarily white that give us the capital and then leverage that off our culture and then create generational wealth for their families. So Fanbase is like, before we give the dance away, let's build the platform first.
For people who follow Ike's very engaged in social media.
Absolutely.
I was in one of his rooms the other night. I was embarrassed that I got out of character just a little bit. It kind of got.
He's gone, but yeah, I mean, absolutely.
But the point I'm making is that, for example, I've heard Snoop, I've heard Roland Martin, but you talked about some other larger influencers. Give us an example of one influencer that people be familiar with. If they moved all of their people over to your platform, what that would be worth for them from a revenue standpoint. Okay.
So what I try to explain is that the reason why I call the app Fanbase is the fact that everybody is a fan of something in this room. I don't care if it's bowling, golf, music or whatever, and then every one of us in this room have a fan base. We don't know that. Social media has been a good time, 20 years, letting people know that our content doesn't have any value, but it does. And so about 5% of the people that follow you on social media are your fan base. Those are the people that will actually pay you for your content. You may not believe it, but they absolutely will. When you get up in the levels of people that have hundreds of millions of followers, you're talking about someone like Beyonce that's leaving about $1.3 billion a year on the table. $1.3 billion on the table by not monetizing the Beehive. Not the 300 million people that follow her, but the 16 million fans that she has around the world that will absolutely pay her $7 a month for her to make content that talks about her life. And every one of us in this room has the ability to do that, to make $500 a month, $5,000, $150,000. And I explain this importantly, like this is like a warning that I'm telling everybody, subscriptions are coming. If you're not monetizing your content via subscription today, 5 years from now, you're gonna be out-earned by somebody that is less talented than you are that decided to do so. Who in this room knows who Kai Cenat is? Okay, cool. If you don't know who Kai Cenat is a guy that streams video games on this platform called Twitch. He has subscribers. You know how much money Kai Cenat makes a month? He makes $800,000 a month and he's 22 years old. Everybody that was 10 years before him were doing dances, trying to get brand deals, trying to get these companies to pay them. That doesn't work. It's direct-to-consumer monetization, and everybody has to get in line with that because these kids are going to be very, very rich, very, very fast, very, very soon.
Yeah, Kai Cenat shut down Times Square by saying he was giving away a PS5 a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
And nobody else knew. They say, where are these kids coming from? All right, we got to wrap up. I want to make sure these two things are not lost. You talked about two opportunities. One, monetizing your fan base personally, but more importantly, because you continue to build this platform, opportunities to invest, which as business people is something that should probably ring a little bit truer.
So I'm going to go directly to the investment. So the way I was able to raise money for Fanbase was something called equity crowdfunding. I'm going to tell this to everybody in this room has a business. Before, from 1933 to 2015, it was illegal for any one of us that was not an accredited investor to invest in an early stage business. So all these tiny companies that have been in the United States of America, the Microsofts, IBMs, Apples, Googles, Ubers, Facebook, Instagram, were founded by very, very wealthy white people that got in a room and had the opportunity to invest in the best ideas early. Barack Obama and Joe Biden signed a law called the Jobs Act that eliminated that regulation so that anybody can raise capital for their business from the general public. In 2020, I applied for equity crowdfunding to raise capital for Fanbase for two reasons. One, it allows the users to actually have equity in the company because who better than have equity than the people that make the platform valuable, which are the users. So I did 3 rounds of raising crowdfunding on Fanbase. I raised a total of $10 million in those 3 years. And I'm the first black man to ever do that in equity crowdfunding ever. This year, we were limited by the amount of money that we could raise. So I went up to something called a Regulation A, which can raise up to $75 million a year. I launched a $17 million round. And I'm raising that round right now. We're almost at about $1.9 million raised. But the reason why I tell everybody the importance of this is these companies go from, in seed investing, they go from 20 million to 50 to 85 to $160 million, which Fanbase is valued at now, but to $100 billion, $200 billion. I'll give you an example, and this will shock everybody in the room. There's a guy named Warren Michaels. Google everything I say and just research it. But there's a guy named Warren Michaels who invested in Uber in 2010. He was already a millionaire. But Warren Michaels got to put $5,000 into Uber. Now, without checking everybody's pockets, who has $5,000 that they can invest right now? Anybody have $5,000? Cool. Who got $500 that they can invest right now? Okay, cool. Yeah, I know y'all have $500. Come on. You know, listen, I'm gonna tell you why it's important. You're afraid of the sales. I know, everybody like, but I'm gonna tell you why it's important. Warren Michaels invested $5,000 into Uber in 2010. When the company went public in 2019, his $5,000 was worth $24 million. So even if 10 of your friends put $500 into Uber, y'all would have came up with $2.4 million in 9 years. But y'all didn't know about it because it was illegal. It was designed to lock everybody else out except for people that were already rich to have access to that. So I tell everybody, take advantage of equity crowdfunding. I've told many businesses, I've helped 3 or 4 other businesses raise money through equity crowdfunding. And so research that. You gotta have your shit together. You gotta incorporate it. You gotta a stock structure class. You gotta get audited, all these things. I've been audited 3 times. I've been, you gotta go to the SEC and FINRA and all these things we've been able to do, but we've been able to raise capital. And so that's why I tell everybody, we're in an important juncture now. If we don't take advantage of a platform like Fanbase and invest in it and lift this thing up to $1 billion, $10 billion, $100 billion company, we're always going to be customers for our own creations. We'll always be begging to be accepted on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and I'm just over that. It's like we can easily do this. Like the money, honestly, the money that was raised for Kamala in this last week, I heard a lot of people were upset that money could have gone towards businesses. But the mechanism to do that already exists with equity crowdfunding, and investing in Fanbase is one of those things. So this is what I want everybody to do. Take your phone out. I want you to go to a site called startengine.com/Fanbase, right? And you can have equity in Fanbase. The minimum to invest in Fanbase is $399, right? You get equity in the company and you grow with us. Now to be clear, when you do seed investment, it's a long-term investment. And I'm explaining investments to you guys real quick. I know I'm running long, but this is important. Investing, guys, is nothing but long-term gambling. Let's just call it what it is. It's long-term gambling. If I go to scratch off right now at the lottery, I know if I won right then. If I bet on a basketball game, I know when the game is over. If I go to Vegas and gamble, I know as soon as the cards are dealt or whatever it is. If I invest in a startup, I don't know if I won 9 years from now. But the reward can be massive, and that's where building wealth is. It's done in long-term investing and long-term risk. What I love about equity crowdfunding is you don't have to put 5, 10, 15, 20K, $300, $500, $600 to do that. Another thing, we're raising $17 million. 28,500 people investing $600 gets us to $17 million. And I want you to download Fanbase and look at it because I want you to see the quality of the product that exists because this isn't a game. This is like, we haven't been this close as Black Planet, and that was in 2001. There's no Black founder that's built anything remotely close to Black Planet or even what Fanbase is. And in the last 24 years, I know that there are people that are way smarter than I am, that have way more money than I do. But this is hard. I've dedicated my life to this. I know that Fanbase is going to be a $100 billion company. I'm going to be a Black billionaire, but I'm not going to be I'm going to be worth $100 billion, not 2. We need those types of people. And the reason why I'm doing this, to be transparent, is because I want to fund candidates. I want to do what Michael Bloomberg did. I don't know if anybody knows what Michael Bloomberg did. Michael Bloomberg ran for president in 2020. He spent $1 billion on commercials and lost. We need that kind of money. So we can fund candidates. So we can say, oh, I got that. Who wants to be mayor? I got that. I got $40 million on that campaign. I I got 100 million on the governor's race. I got 50 million on the Senate seat. That's what we need to be doing. Money, we need, I call super wealthy black people. Not just people that want to be hanging out at Michael Rubin's parties and kicking and all that. People that want to do some real action. I'm never leaving Atlanta. I'm going to make sure that this city is fortified and one of the most spectacular cities of wealth and opportunity and prosperity. We're going to do it through technology. Technology is the fastest way to build wealth in this country. If you're not investing in tech, you're moving slow. So if you have an opportunity to invest in a tech company, which Fanbase is, do it. Startengine.com/Fanbase. Check it out. You'll see everything that's there and tap in with us. Thank you, man.
See. So to celebrate that, do it right, make sure everybody understands who we are and what we've done. This is it.